Hello everyone, welcome to Secret to Success episode 15. And today I have with me Grandmaster RB.Ramesh. He needs no introduction. He has a lot of achievements in his own career as well as his students have performed really well. To name a few, his students have won 34 world medals, 40 Asian medals, and 36 national medals. So first of all, sir, welcome to the show. And
Karthik. Thanks for the opportunity to be here.
yeah,
Really looking forward to it.
yeah, hopefully I will myself learn a lot, and also hopefully the audience also will learn a lot. So first of all, I wanted to start with how you started chess and so on. At what age did you start chess?
Okay, I was initially more interested in cricket than chess. I was actually going for cricket training when I was young with the YMCA club. And early morning, every day I used to get up at 5 and go attend the sessions and so on. But once I got injured with a cricket ball on my head, someone tried to hit a six and it came, it fell on my head. And then I was looking for a safer alternative, and that is when we had Anand becoming a grandmaster, 1988 end or 89 beginning, around that period. I'm not very sure. And I also felt it is a healthy alternative to cricket because by then I was a little scared of injuries
Yeah.
because it was a slightly serious injury. And then also, like, it was an opportunity to uh, get away from school. I don't have to go to school that often. So, so there are twin benefits to coming to chess. And even before I started playing in chess, uh, my elder brother GB Prakash, he was already a very good player back then, and he still is, but he's not very active anymore. He's almost retired from the game, just like me. So he was very strong back then. I think top three in the juniors in the country, something
Yeah.
like that already. So but I was, like I said, more interested in cricket, physical sports, and I felt chess is too boring, just sitting in one place and playing,
Yeah.
and I did not explore it much. But at this point, when Anand became a GM and my own brother was doing well, I was feeling maybe I should also give it a try. So that's how I came to chess. It was not by design. And then when I started playing tournaments, I was very rash. I was not caring too much for the results. It was just like in cricket, you try to hit every ball for a six if you're not careful.
Yeah.
So I was doing something like that in chess as well. And yeah, but luckily, like back then, the defensive skills were not very developed. So in the first three, 4 rounds, if you are reasonably good, you can easily score 3 out of 3 or 4 out of 4 and go to the top 5 or 10 tables. Not anymore. These days, even when you play a 1700 or 1800, there is no guarantee that we will win the game. So the defensive qualities overall, chess strength has gone up significantly. But back then, I could still score a lot of wins just by playing fast, just by attacking. You can scare people and score points. Basically, swindling, something like that. And that's what I was doing initially. But then when I started getting good results, uh, I also started working more and in a disciplined manner. And then I fell in love with the game. So that's how it all happened. But I was already 12 years old when I came to chess. So by even by today's standard, it is quite late, I should say.
Yeah. So, like, yeah, as you said, you were 12 years old when you started chess. So, like, my question is, did you know the rules before that? And also, like, another question is, like, what do you think is the right age to start chess and so on?
Okay, I already knew how to play the game. My neighbor who was living next to our home uh, at Chennai, he taught the game to my brother, myself, and there were like around 20 to 30 kids in our street. And back then there was no internet, and the TV channels, there were not any channels, only Doordarshan. So we did not have any entertainment as such. So the only entertainment was all the kids will come to the street, and there was not much traffic either, not many cars or two-wheelers, mostly cycle rickshaw, something like that. So it is very safe to play in the streets. So that is where you find all the children back then. So the streets were our playgrounds. So we'll be on the road playing all kinds of games, flying kites, chasing dogs, okay, you name it. So it was a different life. What our generation, this generation is kind of missing, you could say. So yeah, he taught the game to us, but only my brother took it seriously. Uh, we are all of us. We would prefer to be on the streets. Uh,
Yeah.
so that's the first answer. The first question. The second question: what is the right age to play chess? I think it is generally what I would. My philosophy is like there are many important questions, but for the most important questions, there are no correct solutions, and that is how it is, and that is how it should be. That is my personal opinion. Like we can ask, like when did time start, or how did universe come? These questions are very important, but it is almost impossible to give a correct answer. So similarly, we can just have opinions on what is the right age to start, and I don't think there is any uh, correct answer for such questions. But it is very extremely important to think about these questions, because when we try to find an answer to these kind of important questions, we realize it's not that simple.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I said, it's now the Russians, they have a strong feeling that we should start the game at the age of 4.
Wow.
And in my case, I started at the age of 12. And in Anand's case, I think he started at the age of 6. And I know I've worked with many young, talented players, and many of them started at the age of 9. So it also depends on the generation we live at. So nowadays, people are becoming grandmasters at the age of 10, 11, 12, 13, and so
Yeah.
on. So the age for getting titles is going down. So as a result, and also the learning speed is picking up. Like if someone becomes an international master at the age of 10, it means probably in 4 years or so he has learned so much.
Yeah.
So um, generally, what I would say is like instead of putting a number to it, it would be better if the child enjoys the game. Whoever is starting the game at whatever age, they should enjoy the game. They should feel connected. They should have fun. At that age, they should not be stressed about performance, achieving things to please others, or looking good to others. These things should not be the priority. Instead, they should simply focus on enjoying the game. And if they are ambitious, they should realize that they have to spend more time because it has become very competitive.
Yeah.
So, as long as the child enjoys the game and willing to learn through some self effort, I think age should not be an issue.
Yeah, so related to that, do you think someone can become a grandmaster or even world champion if they start late, let's say after 20, or for that matter any age? Do you think they can become a grandmaster or even world champion?
Okay, so again, these are all I can give only my personal opinions, and it means nothing because everyone has personal opinion on every topic. If you ask me vanilla or strawberry, I may say vanilla, someone will say strawberry. So it
Yeah.
is like this. So whatever I say is my personal opinion, and I don't claim it to be correct. Fine. So starting late, what I have realized is, and this also, my view keeps changing on this issue as well, just like in many other critical issues. So earlier I used to think something, and then with experience and time, I changed my opinion. So on this issue, currently my view and the view I had earlier is also very different. So one thing I have noticed is I used to think at very young age, children are without pressure. Their mind is relatively unclouded with a lot of things. So it's like clean slate, and you can write whatever you want, meaning you can influence them easily into the way you want them to be. So
Yeah.
you can actually inspire them to work hard. You can teach these things. But what has happened in the last 5 years or so, even young children, they are very stressed out. Just like, let us say someone is 20 years old and he has not become an IM or a GM. So you can understand how stressed they will be. And every rating point gain or loss, it affects them, making norms, missing them. All this have a big impact. So I feel like these days, last few years, especially, even the Indian young children, they are under a lot of stress. Uh, they are chasing ratings, titles. They are playing for results at a very young age. So I don't think that's a completely healthy uh, change, because it's good to be ambitious. It's good to realize we have to work hard to achieve our ambitions. But if we should, it's also important to realize that you don't have to be successful at everything you do. And what do we mean by success itself could vary. For example, if I am happy playing chess, if I'm happy listening to others talk about chess, seeing chess, if this makes me happy, I would say I'm already successful, irrespective of my title, rating, or results. But do we have that freedom anymore? That is a question. Because if our results are not good in others' viewpoint, then probably we are going to be judged all the time,
Yeah.
like we are not good enough. So even if we don't feel that way, others are going to give that kind of opinion to us. So it is like constantly we are being judged by everyone. We are judging others, and this I'm not very comfortable at all. So I think everyone should find their comfort zone and make these decisions accordingly. But like I said, with age, few disadvantages happen. We form opinions about various things, and they kind of become more and more firm in our mind. For example, how I see is like a young mind is like a wet clay. You can make a wet clay into any shape you want. But once it dries, then it becomes kind of hard. And then the
Yeah.
only way to change its shape again is to break it and again make it wet. So that is a very painful process. So with age, what happens is like we start forming up our opinions on various things, even our opinion about ourselves. For example, I am this kind of a person, I am that kind of a person. And so these things can, yeah, hello, Karthik and Murli. So these things can have an impact. For example, if at young age I start forming an opinion like I don't like endgames, or I am scared if my opponent is going to attack me, I'm not comfortable. I don't like to sacrifice material, or classics are boring. I like to see only Carlson's game. So these kind of opinions we will start forming on various aspects, and then it slowly becomes permanent. And
Yeah.
most of these opinions are our philosophy on these issues is what will prevent us from changing. And I strongly believe like improvement is possible till we have the ability to change ourselves for the better. Once we lose that ability, and once we have very strong opinions on most issues, then I don't think improvement and learning is going to happen smoothly. So it is. Um, so one way to look at it is, as we grow older, we firm up our opinions on many things, and that prevents us from changing and learning. So with age, if we can still retain that quality, like, okay, what I'm doing is not helping me, let me change for a better. If we retain that quality, I think improvement is still possible.
Yeah. And you were talking about this ambitious thing, or goals and stuff. So when you were growing up, did you have any goals, or you were just playing chess for the happiness sake, or for the fun sake?
Yeah, I think that is also very important. That is one of the things I was trying to stress in my previous answer. The children who are coming to chess these days, most of the time it is not their decision. It's their parents feel like, I want my child to be a good chess player. And
Yeah.
then they introduce the game to the child, and then they start looking for good coaches, tournaments. And in most of the cases, it happens like this. It is not like the children are coming to chess on their own. That is also happening, but probably to a lesser extent. So back then, probably it was like 100%. It was because the child liked chess, parents started supporting. But these days, probably it's like maybe 50-50 already, or maybe worse.
Yeah.
So the parents first decide that my child should be a good chess player. And sometimes what happens, the children actually enjoy the game. When they are introduced, they also love the game, and it becomes more voluntary. But in some cases, it is from a young age, the children are playing for success. They try to achieve this, that, and the fun part and the enjoyment doesn't happen. So I think it is extremely important that the love for the game, the passion for the game, so chess should be fun. It should not be all about results. That's what I feel.
Yeah, true. But generally, obviously, it's very hard to follow that, and like obviously, sometimes we have these goals to win a tournament or achieve a certain goal within a certain period. So generally, how do you think one should approach that, like having goals or stuff?
Okay. The thing is, goals are important because if you see in Mahabharata, there is one incident where Arjun is supposed to hit the eye of the bird. Dronacharya,
Yeah.
he keeps a bird and then he asks the students to aim at the bird's eye and hit it. And everyone says, when he asks what you are seeing, everyone gives a different answer. I'm seeing birds, I'm seeing sky, I'm seeing trees, blah, blah, blah. But Arjun says, I see the eye, and then he hits the eye. So the point is, when your mind is focused on something, it makes it easy to go after it. You can channelize all your energy, all your effort, all your time, everything into achieving what you want to achieve. So in that sense, it is good to have an aim. But aim should not be everything. More than the aim, it is like how we channelize our effort into achieving the aim. The process which we go through to achieve the aim is more important. So we should not compromise on that for the sake of achieving aim. So similarly, from young age, it is better to have the philosophy because I have seen a lot of players get stressed out because they are not achieving the results which they hoped they will achieve. And once they get into this stressful mode, then it is very difficult to come out of it and play freely the way you actually want to play chess. So sometimes, like players choose some solid openings when they can be an aggressive player. But the fear that if I play aggressive chess, maybe it may backfire and I may lose some games. So they want to choose some solid opening and then play safe. These kind of things are happening at very young age. So I think it is very important till we feel I have learned chess uh, very well, till you feel that confidence in your own skills. It is very important. We should not play for the results, and we should play to learn. Um, I should try to learn more, and I should try to improve my chess strength. So that should be the priority. But if we start playing for results at very young age, then learning takes a backseat. And if the learning takes backseat, then we are not going to improve much. And it is going to backfire because we want to be good players, but we are not learning. So I think that has to, the priority should be uh, very important. We should always focus on learning and improving, and we should also realize it requires a lot of time from our side, from the player's side, and uh, and time in the sense on a daily basis you have to work, and also even if you work on a daily basis in few months, some children get it right very young age, but usually it takes sometimes years to become reasonably strong. So when I was young, I remember I was talking to Grandmaster Kidambi, Grandmaster Sashi Kiran and all. They were like slightly uh, below my age back then. And when we were discussing, we used to say, okay, I have to become strong. I have to learn this. I have to learn that. My end game is not good. I should work on my improving my end game. So the discussions will be about the areas where we have to learn and improve. But nowadays it is more about, okay, what is your rating? What is my rating? So everything has turned to results instead of how we can grow. So I think this is the fundamental change. I don't think it is very healthy.
Yeah, and for someone like who has grown up and have played so many years with this result-oriented attitude, what do you think would be the cure for that person to, get rid of that attitude and just focus on learning something new?
It will be extremely difficult for someone who has grown up for many years thinking, being very ambitious and going madly at results, to leave all that and suddenly to play just for the enjoyment, the learning, the whole journey. So it is like, for example, if I have to go from Chennai to Calcutta by train, let's say it takes 30 hours. Now, if I go by flight, then maybe I can reach it in 2 hours or something, right?
Yeah,
So now, in flight, you cannot really admire the beauty outside, because once you have traveled enough flights, you will see it's all clouds. Only the shape of the clouds will vary. But if you are going by a train, the whole topography will change. You will see the area. I mean, you can see in every few seconds, everything is changing. There are mountains, there are trees, different types of trees, different stages of growth. You see people, houses, different kinds, everything you see. And I can just climb into the berth and sleep for 20 hours. I can complete the journey. That is one way to do it. Or you can also sit near the window, admire the environment around you. So basically, that journey, that 30 hours journey, how you're going to do it? Are you going to be a participant in that journey actively and enjoy every moment of it? Or you are just going to take a step back and then just focus on completing the journey without enjoying it? So similarly, when we play chess, it is also important that it is a journey. We have to realize it is not like you get into a flight and then in 1 hour you land and the journey is over. So it is going to be like that. Now, if you look at Magnus Carlsen, he has become world champion. Now, for most of us, becoming world champion could be our lifetime ambition. But in Carlsen's case, or if you take Anand's case, they have all become world champions not just once but multiple times, and they're still playing chess. Why? So, if that was the end result we were looking for, it is they have realized like even after becoming GM, it doesn't give you that full satisfaction. You are still missing something, and they are still playing to fulfill that whatever they have missed. So I think it is very important we enjoy seeing chess, and not just seeing chess. The more important thing is we should learn to enjoy analyzing chess. Now this is very difficult for many, because like when I teach to students also, when we give some interesting position, they are not curious about finding all that beautiful ideas, being creative, taking risk, being experimentative. Instead, they just try to find the answer.
yep,
So it's like position means you have to find answer. So even if you find a main line and you got the answer, but in sideline there is some beautiful variation is there, they are not very curious about this. I got the answer, so what's the point? Let's go to the next position. So everything has an end result in mind, and we are madly going after fulfilling meeting one target and then going to the next target. So it is very important, if we have been playing for results, we should try to ask ourselves, are we enjoying this journey? Are we enjoying this game? I mean, we did not come at a very young age for results. That part added to us at a later stage. So we have to ask ourselves, is it worth it to madly chase results? Because one thing I have seen is, like for someone who has not become a GM, it may look like for example, if someone is not an IM, it's 2200, he wants to become an IM. So he will be thinking like, if I become an IM, I'll be very happy. So after 1 or 2 years, he becomes an IM, and then immediately he'll be happy for a few days or few weeks or few months, and then the next target will kick in. Now I should become a GM, and then that IM to GM process will be very stressful, and he'll be feeling when this will finish. So once I become a GM, I'll become happy, and then once he becomes a GM, okay, you get some cash award, people write about you in websites, newspaper, blah blah blah, and after a few weeks or months, that also settles down, and then new target kicks in. So maybe I want to get married into 2550 or
yeah,
2600, something like that. And once you reach that again, so this is something we have to realize at the early age. So I'm not saying these things these benchmarks are not important. I'm just saying these benchmarks are not everything. So if you play a good move, that should also make you happy. If you take some risk, and even if it backfired, you should still feel happy. That is very important. So if chess, the moment chess stops making us happy, I don't think it is worth pursuing it. So if chess is all about um, achieving targets, then it's not going to be fun, and it'll just add a lot of stress to our life. So we should always learn to have a life outside chess. We should always step out and be able to look at ourselves objectively and see, are we going in the right direction? Is this journey making me happy? Is this how I want it to go? So this self introspection is very important in my view. And for someone, like I said, it is chess will be fun and happy if we focus more on learning. So in every experience, we should try to learn. Even if you have a bad tournament, it did not accidentally happen to be a bad tournament. We played bad chess. That's why we have a bad tournament, right?
Yep.
So it means we did something wrong, and nobody else is to be blamed for it. So I should be curious. I mean, why did I have such a bad tournament? Why did I make these mistakes? And try to go to the root cause, not just some surface solution. Because many times what people will do, okay, I blundered because I got into time trouble. So it means it has completed. So there, I am nothing to blame myself for. So time trouble only created the blunder, not me. It is like you can disassociate yourself from what was going on. So it is very important we don't do that. We should accept responsibility that I played a bad tournament means I played some bad games. So when I play bad games, it means I have taken some bad decisions, and I took those bad decisions. So why I took those bad decisions? At what moments I took such bad decisions? What triggered me to take such bad decisions? So this is kind of thinking we should try to look into, and we should not ask for solution from others. It doesn't. That is what most of the time people are doing, and this is also I'm not very happy with. It is like people have stopped believing in themselves that they can find solution to their own problems. So just like they want to outsource everything to others. So if I have a doubt, suppose I'm playing, uh, mm, let's say some Sicilian opening, then I ask myself, so many players ask me, is Sicilian good for me? Or French a good opening? So, I mean, who am I to talk about these things? I can only give my opinion. I'm not an authority, or no one is an authority. Even if Magnus Carlsen says, okay, this opening is good, this opening is bad, then I would simply take it as his personal opinion. Everyone can have a right to have personal opinions. So why are we curious about others' personal opinions on what we are doing? What is good or bad for us? Why should we ask others whether what I am doing is good for me or not? Why can't we find that solution ourselves? Are we not curious enough? And so this also it's becoming very rampant these days. So people just go to others and say, okay, this is my problem, can you solve it? I mean, why should others solve your problem? I mean, you have yourself, solve it yourself. And that is how self growth happens. So growth does not happen because you get to ask ideas from others. That is not how it works. So this I think this is going down a lot. So we are like expecting quick fix solutions to our problems from others, and we are also thinking like it is like I have a bucket. I'm imagining I'm a bucket, and there are some holes in the bucket. So when we pour water, the water is leaking. So we look at ourselves like this bucket with holes. So if someone gives a magical solution, and then these holes are filled, then the water will be not leaking, something like that. And it is others' responsibility to solve my problems. No, we have to realize like the holes and bucket are coexisting, and the holes were not made by others. We made the holes.
Yep.
So we have some bad habits. Maybe I'm not working hard enough. So this, unless I change myself for the better, and for that, first I should be asking myself what I'm doing wrong, and try to find it myself and admit what I'm doing wrong to myself. Because even this, many are not willing to do, because they always think I'm not doing this because the problem is lying outside. The problem rarely lies outside. Most of the time, we are the problem. What we are doing, our approach, our attitude, our work ethics, they are the problem. So we should be ready to change. Then growth is possible irrespective of age or how we are grown up.
Yeah, and related to that, let's say like I found out that I have a particular problem. So
Mhm.
like how to find the solution on your own. So let's say if someone has a coach, it's easier to ask a coach or something. So when finding out the solution on our own, it's a little bit difficult. So what do you think is the approach to
Yeah.
that?
Um, See, there are many strong players, uh, and all these experiences which we are going through, whatever problems which we face, many of the strong players would have faced them as well, and somehow they found the solution, and they did not find the solution from outside. Most of the time, it will be because they themselves understand, okay, this is what I'm doing wrong, and this is where I should change, and they were having the courage to change. So I had one student who had big time trouble problems, and then Grandmaster Adiban had come to our place. I think like 1 year ago or 2 years ago, and Adiban also had time trouble problem when he was young. So I asked Adiban, how did you overcome, or how did you grow despite your time trouble issues, or how did you learn to handle overcome your time trouble issues in front of this other student? So Adiban gave good advice. He said like, okay, for after I became a GM, once I touched 2500, I was trying to become 2600, but it was not happening. I was always in 2500 and kind of stuck. And I was very uh, um, stressed about this. I wanted to break into 2600 and it was not happening. And then I understood because I was getting into time trouble in many of the games. I'm making mistakes in that phase of the game, and that is why results it's suffering. So I told myself like at the end of this year, if I don't get rid of my time trouble issue, then I will maybe stop playing chess. So something like this. So some extreme decision, punishment, you could say. And then immediately in few tournaments, he could come out of the time trouble problem. But I'm not saying this is the solution. But the point is, you you can ask experienced players or coaches for their opinions, but whether it will work for us, there is no guarantee. Okay, so if you are, I have read like when I was young, Botvinnik used to say during tournaments you should not prepare, and 3 days before the tournament you should stop seeing chess because your mind will be fresh, you'll be more creative. So these kind of views he had, and even now Vladimir Kramnik, fantastic player, he feels playing blitz for young players is not good. So there are many such opinions, and I would simply see them as opinions. Just because the person who is giving that opinion has a larger than life image does not make it the truth. It still is an opinion. So that freedom we should always have to see what others say as simply as opinions. And it makes a lot of sense to listen to views of opinions of players or persons whom you respect and you look up to. So it makes a lot of sense. You can listen to them, listen to their views on the topic which is bothering you, but ultimately you should simply not follow it because it worked for him. So for example, if there is one good opening, everyone will be playing that opening only.
Yeah.
Why Carlson plays a different opening, why Anand plays a different opening, why Aranya Nakamura, everyone chooses their own openings, right? They don't try to play, okay, Carlson is the world champion, so let us all play Carlson's opening because that is the best opening. No, you have to find your own uh, path. And once we lose that freedom to choose what is good for us, then we are only fit to be followers, not leaders. So we should reduce our aims accordingly. So we should never lose this quality of ultimately deciding what is good for us, how things should be done. We should keep that freedom to ourselves. That is very important.
Yeah. Okay, before moving forward, there are a couple of questions. So, first of all, this question is from I am Saravanan and is
Yeah, hello.
asking you say self growth happens with one forming views and opinions by self. Which are the best ways for wisdom gathering about chess? Reading chess books, playing only interaction with strong players, or playing Only
Yeah, like I
Wikipedia.
said, all of this is necessary, but I wouldn't choose one over the other because what works for one will not work for others. Some will learn more from books, some will learn more from playing. For example, if you ask Capablanca or Ali Kane or Steinitz, which book had a big impact on you? Which book you would say responsible for you becoming a great chess player? Back then there were no chess books, right?
Yeah.
Maybe there were few books, but I don't think they became great players because of books. So they learned despite no books, right? And you
Yeah.
could say this for many grandmasters because till 1970 or something, the books were all predominantly in Russian language, Soviet Union era. So they were most of the books were in Russian language, but there were few chess players outside Russia who were good, but not all like Fischer learned Russian and read the Russian books and became great players. So what I'm trying to say, like throughout generations, there were fantastic mathematicians. Like if you take Ramanujam, uh, he did not go to any university and learn math, but it was self-learned. So my simple point is anything you are passionate about and you are ambitious, you are hardworking, your priorities are right, that is the best way to learn. For inspiration, for information, there are multiple sources, books, these days websites, you have YouTube channels, lot of things are there. But ultimately, this information, access to information is not going to make us better because sometimes it can just be we can just become addicts for information. So like I will follow this channel, then after this I go to the next channel, like he is streaming, let me go there, let me go here, let me go
Yeah.
here. It's like you are always shifting TV channels, right?
Yeah.
So I see this program in this channel, and then when that program I move to the next channel, right? It should not be like that. That's what I'm saying, because all the time I'm watching TV only instead of doing what I should be doing for my growth. So I can ask someone, okay, I have a time trouble issue. How do I solve my time trouble problem? I don't know how to come out of it myself. So you can ask experienced people who have had time trouble issue and came out of it successfully, or who still live with the time trouble and try to come out of it. But ultimately, the solution should be our own. We should simply not implement what others are telling us to do because it worked for them. So I will tell one personal experience. I was working with one GM. I don't want to name him. So he asked me, is it okay to watch television during tournaments? So again, how can I decide whether my student can watch television or not? It's not my job. And so I said, okay, you decide. If you want to watch television, you watch. If you don't want to television, don't watch. But he said, no, no, sir, you tell me. So I said, okay, let's do one thing. So in the next tournament, you watch television or you don't watch television and let's see how it goes. He said, fine. And the next tournament, he did not see TV and he played very well. So then we met after the tournament and he said, this worked for me. I think I should never see TV during the tournament. I said, no, you have seen only one side of the coin. Let's see the other side of the coin. So the next tournament, you watch TV and see how you play. So he watched TV, he still played well. So now after this experience, he came to me and said, again, same question. Should I watch TV or not watch TV? So my point is there are no correct answers for these things. So you have to find your own way. You can ask for others' opinion, they will share their opinion. You think about the pros and cons. You try one thing, it does not work. You try it another way. You try things. Ultimately, something will work for you, and that is what will be the solution for you. And sometimes it will work for me this year. The same solution next year it may not work. So we should not worry too much about these things. So the learning should happen ultimately when we introspect about things, when we think about these things about ourselves, that is when we actually learn. But whatever information we get from outside, it can inspire us in some directions. That is all. So that can be from any source. Like when you analyze with other players, you play in tournaments, you play online games, you play blitz games, you sit and see chess on your own, you buy some books, databases, videos. The sources are plenty, but the learning can happen only within ourselves. This I strongly believe.
Yeah, and okay, there is one more question. So, Tanmay Srinath is asking, which gaming chair do you use?
Gaming chair. Okay. So when I started seeing like during this lockdown period, almost everyone is streaming on YouTube, Twitch, etc. So I was also attracted to it. I thought, okay, why not start streaming? So before that, I wanted to have a nice setup because we'll be sitting for long hours
Yeah,
and doing this. So I just looked at many YouTube channels and how people, what setup they have. And basically, I did not know what OBS is. Like, just like probably you are also like, you started from nothing, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
I, Ganguly helped, he taught me how to use OBS and so on. And then I was just looking at various YouTube channels because I, from young age, I had some neck problem. So if I sit in wrong posture, I will quickly get neck pain. So for me, it's very important I have a good chair where I will feel comfortable. So I browsed about the chairs, finally got this. And
yeah,
in few days, I got a message from Setu Raman. They're like, where do you get this? Send me the link. I think soon we'll see Setu also.
yeah. Okay,
So this is it.
yeah, and coming back to hard work and so on. Like first of all, in your own career, like when you started and so on, like how much hard work were you doing, and like in terms of hours and so on. And do you think like any person could improve without working hard?
Okay. So this is very important question. So that I have thought about this a lot and I've typed these things. So even if I forget, I can always go back and learn it myself. So generally, what I feel is like I work with many children, young players, different ages. They all claim inevitably that I'm working hard. But as they grow older, and then we ask, "Are you still working hard?" Majority of the people say not as hard as I should be. So the hard work is not more work. So it is not the quantity, like if you work 4 hours a day or 6 hours a day, does not make us hardworking. So it is not measured in hours. So it even if you sit for like 5 minutes and then try to think hard over a puzzle, so that 5 minutes you are working hard. So that intensity of the effort, your involvement in that activity, if you are very much involved, interested, you should kind of lose yourself in that experience. So when you're seeing chess or when you're playing a game, you should simply forget about everything. Like for example, if I listen to some, let's say I like SP Balasubramaniam songs, so I put his SP Balasubramaniam songs and then I just close my eyes and then I listen to this music and then I forget myself, what I am doing, where I am, right? So I'm completely immersed myself in that experience. So something like this, when we play good chess, we stop worrying about I should become IM, GM, what my rating is, what my opponent's rating is. All this you should forget and just enjoy that process. Fully lose yourself in that experience. That I think is hard work. And this kind of hard work, if even if I can do for 1 or 2 hours in a day, I think we will improve much faster. But what is happening for many is they are like, even when they are seeing some opening, they'll say, okay, let me see this opening today. And when they're seeing this opening, and some moments they don't understand some moves, they immediately put the engine, right?
Yep.
And they are not willing to pass and think, okay, why this move is difficult for me? Why I am not understanding this? Right? Why this move is so difficult for me to understand? It means like I am not comfortable in those type of positions. Then does it make sense for you to go for those positions in your games? Or you should learn how to handle those positions. So we are not going deep into the issue. Instead, we are trying to come up with some band-aid solution. Like the engine says something, then we, okay, now I understand. So
Yeah.
this I have a lot of issues with.
Yeah, and also like some people don't have time to work and practice, but ultimately they want to learn a lot from chess, and they want to improve their game. So like, what would be your recommendation to those players who don't have time to work on chess?
No, it is. like I said, it is not the hours you put. Uh, for example, like if you are interested about something, like let's say you wake up every day at 7 a.m. And if you are very passionate about chess, you want to learn. So maybe you can get up at 6 a.m. and you'll get that one extra hour. Or maybe you sleep at 11 o'clock, you sleep at 12 o'clock. So I don't think time is generally the issue, but most of the time we convince ourselves that is the issue. For example, like I was when I was young, I was very thin and weak. So I wanted to improve my health. So I wanted to do some exercise. But I was telling myself, I'm very busy. I don't have time for these things. And I was not doing anything to get into a good exercise routine. But then one new year, I told myself, whether I have time or not, I will just go and pay the fee
Yeah.
in the gym. And then at least for next few weeks, I could go regularly. So it is usually not the reasons which we are giving ourselves. That is the problem. That is just an excuse we give to ourselves to make it acceptable why we are not doing the right things. So if you are sure something is the right way to do, you simply have to get it done without giving any excuses. So um, you just have to surrender yourself. That is the key. So if you don't have time, you have to find time, you have to create time, because everyone has 24 hours. So maybe you have to cut down on sleep, or maybe you have to cut down on TV, or somewhere we have to make a compromise, something we have to give up so that we can find time for this. And once you have time for chess, even if it is half an hour or 1 hour per day, instead of just learning a lot of facts from sources, it is very important we teach ourselves how to think, how to analyze in chess. Once we learn this, learning facts is very easy. So if I'm not a good chess player, if I study the best opening in the world, how is it going to help me? Because I won't understand why these moves are played, right? But if I can understand chess well, I can analyze chess well, then whatever openings I'm trying to learn, it will make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, true. And okay, there are a lot of questions, but okay. So the first question is like, is it's from Anish and is asking like, is there any protocol or something you can suggest for analyzing one's own game?
Okay, analyzing one's own game, first thing I would say is like after the game is over, try to talk to your opponent and say, can we analyze this game in the analysis room? Take him to the analysis room and analyze the games. But here itself, many of us, if we have lost the game, what happens? We immediately want to get out of the tournament hall, away from
Yeah.
everyone. Before everyone asks, what happened to your game? What happened to your game? So we feel that is very shameful. So after we lose a game, we want to run to our hotel room and keep brooding.
Yeah.
So instead, they should become curious, like, so why I lost this game, and then you should best opportunity is immediately analyze with the opponent, because you are seeing from this side, he is seeing from the other side, so you can get his perspectives, his views on the game. And if he's giving some interesting things, then we can realize, oh my god, I did not see any of this, but my opponent has seen. So we both are analyzing same position. And he's coming up with all these ideas, which I should have also found myself. I did not do. So then you should realize, oh, this is the problem. I'm not seeing as much as I should see when I'm playing a game. So best opportunity, analyze with your opponent. One. Second, if when you are analyzing, if your opponent says no, then maybe if you have friends who are decent chess players, analyze the game with them. So they will try to refute your idea, you try to refute. And this way also we will learn. So analyzing with the opponent, analyzing with other chess players is fantastic way to, I would say this is the best way to learn from our games. The third, once we reach the tournament, like our hotel room, because most of us we are traveling while playing. So you go to the room, feed the game into the computer, quickly check with engines, not very deep analysis, but just try to find out if you have missed some, made some blunders or missed some good ideas in your game briefly. And then it will tell, okay, we missed some tactics or a good positional move, something like that. And then we tell ourselves, okay, so today I missed a lot of tactics in my game. So tomorrow I'll be more alert for tactical opportunities. So this is the correct way to learn. Instead, what people do, they immediately come to some harsh conclusions. I'm always missing tactics, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm always doing this mistake, something like that. No, everybody makes mistakes. So whatever mistakes we are doing at that phase, you become aware that this is the mistake I'm doing. I will try to avoid this mistake in the coming games. So that is one approach. And then after the tournament is over, when you go back home, you can try to divide the game into different areas. Like, how did you manage your time? Did you play too fast? Did you play too slow? If you got into time trouble, for which moves you thought more time, and which moves you played too fast? Sometimes you would have played some move very quickly, and that turned out to be a mistake. So what prompted you to play that move very quickly, right?
Yeah.
So I should have controlled myself better. Maybe I got too excited after seeing a movie which looked good, but it eventually turned out to be a blunder. So in the future games, if I get excited about some move, am I still going to play it fast because I got excited, or I'm going to slow down, control myself, and still continue the analytical process? So I should try to control my reactions to the moves I see. I should not get so excited or dejected when I see good and bad moves. So I should try to have a balanced concentration during the game. I should keep my emotions under check. So these things you don't need others' advice to do. You can just be curious why what went on in your mind and how you can see that same mistakes are not repeated in the future games. So this kind of introspection is very nice. And then, but most of them, what we are doing these days, we are just using different engines, adding some analysis to the database, and the database size grows. But we don't change, we don't learn much. And then, so you just ask yourself in every phase, how did you play? Are you satisfied? There are many ways to analyze games. Shashikaran, he told me few years ago that he will keep a chess clock. Like let's say he played a 1 2 hour game, then he will give himself 2 hours and play the game again. He will keep the same opponent moves, and he will try to think fresh. So maybe he will come up with some better ideas now, something like that. So there is no one correct way, but the point is you should be curious what went wrong, what went right, and learn from the experience and make necessary changes and try implement those changes.
Yeah. And what do you think of Kasparov's way of analyzing? He always tries to find the objectivity of the position or something. As you can see in his books, like My Great Predecessors or anything, like the analysis was too long. Like, do you think it is okay to put that much effort and to go so deep into the position?
No, it is like let us see, someone is climbing Mount Everest, right?
Yeah.
So lot of effort, right? It is not like he's climbing 2 steps. So is it necessary to put so much effort to climb Mount Everest? No, if you want to climb Mount Everest, obviously you have to put a lot of effort. So it is just a question of um, what I want to achieve with my analysis. So
Yeah.
everyone has to decide for themselves. So for Kasparov, he wants to go to the truth. So he wants to actually find whether this move is good or bad, something like this. Whose position is good, whose position is bad. So he's going it from that perspective. So for him, he will be satisfied only when he gets to the ultimate truth. So
Yeah.
if that involves I should go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, he will go for it. But for some, it is just a question of creativity and beauty. So for such people, these things don't really matter. So if a move looks very interesting, creative, uh, then even if it is not objectively correct, it's fine. If you take Michael Toll, so
Yeah.
many times he gave sacrifices which later proved to be not so good, but it was effective and it made him happy. It made so many others happy, right? So I don't think I should be the one passing judgments on these things. So everybody to his own. Everybody will have their opinion. Somebody will take intuitive decision. Um, Somebody will analyze too much and take decisions. So everyone is different. So their path should be different. It's fine.
Yeah. And like coming to confidence and so on, like many people they perform so well at training or while practicing at home, but when they go to the tournament, either it's the fear of opponent or for unknown reasons they don't they lack the confidence. So, and also I have read in your website some testimonials from for example Grandmaster Karthikeyan Murli or even Grandmaster Adiban, like they were mentioning you improved their psychological ability and so on. So what do you think is the solution to lack of confidence and so on?
Okay, so the first thing is confidence. What is confidence? So confidence is the feeling I have about myself. So if I feel good about myself, my capabilities, then that I can deliver what is required when it is required, then it is like I'm having confidence. Now, if I don't believe in my capabilities, I have doubts. Oh, my opponent is so strong. Whatever I do, ultimately he will beat me somehow. Somewhere I will make mistake and he'll beat me. So here I am trusting my opponent's capabilities more than myself, right? And why? On what basis? Based on rating or past experience or the titles. He is a GM, I am not a GM. He has high rating, I have low rating. Last time I lost to him, so maybe this time also I will lose. So we are letting lot of factors interfering our judgment, and
Yep.
this is the problem. Now, my simple question is, I mean, how does it matter what your opponent's rating is or what our rating is about the past result, whether your opponent is title player or not title player? How does it matter at all? So, if these things are going to decide the results every time, then a GM should always beat a non-GM. IM should always beat a non-IM. Higher rated should always beat a lower rated. All this, but it never happens like that. Many times you see lower rated players beat higher rated players, non-GMs beat GMs. It's happening on a daily basis. So why give importance to these things? So instead, just go there and give your best. So if we are okay with this, just I'll just go and give my best. This is all we have to do, and then whatever has to happen, because our opponent also gives his best. Then that will
Yes.
also have an impact on the result, isn't it? So it is not like I give my best, my opponent is not giving his best. No. So on a given day, whoever played better will deserve to win, and we should be fine with that. So we should be fine with our opponent giving a playing a better game than us, and then we should just enjoy and appreciate. Oh, wow, he played better than me. He deserves to win. We can take losses this way also. So the confidence is an outcome of what we think about ourselves. And what we think about ourselves is heavily influenced by what opinion you have about yourself and about your chest strength. So if I'm working well, the work I do at home with my coaches or whatever is actually benefiting me. I am learning a lot of good things, and I'm changing myself for the better, and I'm improving in the process. I'm growing strong. So you will actually have that feeling. For example, um, when I work with a student, I give a position, and he's not solving the puzzle, and I give another portion he's not able to get. He solves with a lot of mistakes. Now I give the same portion to another student. He thinks, finally gets the correct answer. Then I give another portion. He thinks, again he gets the correct answer. So now you see how these two players differently behave. Like one is in a same situation is making mistakes. The other is not making mistakes, is getting it right. So the one who is actually doing it right will immediately after those two puzzles, he will feel confident already,
Yep.
because I put a lot of effort and I found the solution. So when we do things correctly, we grow, and when we improve, we will know immediately then and there that I'm improving. And this is what actually gives the confidence which will last for a long time. So actually the hard work we do and the learning that is happening as a result of hard work, that is what will give us confidence. The confidence can also be influenced by a few other factors. For example, if okay, can we have a 1 minute break? Maybe
Yeah,
you can
yeah,
talk to the audience.
yeah,
Someone
yeah,
is ringing the bell. Home
yeah,
alone.
yeah, sure, no problem.
Yeah. confidence, what I would say is, yeah, yeah. So regarding confidence, as I was saying, it is the output of our learning. So if we are learning and improving, our confidence will be high. If I'm seeing a lot of chess, but I'm not learning much, my confidence will not be very high. So the other things that influence our confidence is if I have good results, if I play a good game today, I won, that also will give us confidence. So good results, others' encouragement, that also gives confidence. So if people say, hey, you played a great game, you have improved a lot. So when people praise us, appreciate us, our confidence will go up. So results, praise, play a good game, all this. But these things are all external, coming from external source. It will have impact only on very short time. For example, if I win today, my confidence will be good. Tomorrow I lose, the confidence will go down.
Yeah.
So somebody praises me, my confidence will grow up. Somebody uses some bad things, says bad things about me, my confidence will again go down. So external things can affect our confidence, but deep inside, if I know I am working hard and improving well, then that will actually, that is a confidence which is long lasting.
Yeah. And like our mind is one of the hardest things to control, and sometimes we lose focus, or we have other like when dealing with pressure or something, our mind wanders and so on. So generally, what do you recommend in order to control your emotions, or take over your mind, something like that?
Yeah, I think that is the key. I would say, if you see, if you say like 1,000 players are playing chess, and today they were introduced to chess, maybe one in that 1,000 they will become GM or IM or whatever. Okay, remaining 999 people, they get stuck at these levels. And I would not say because this one person was more talented than others, that is why he became successful. No, talent has its role, but not, that is beyond a certain level, it will play a bigger role. And also at the very initial stages of the game. So talented children, they will win under seven national titles, something like this. So at a very young level, and also at beyond a certain level, talent will play a huge role. But in between these levels, it is the other factors, and most of them is psychological. And so this pressure is the key. Most of us are not able to handle the pressure. And how do we handle pressure? If our priorities are correct, actually there won't be any pressure. So because the priorities are not correct, we are facing pressure. So we are looking at defining success as if I win today's game, I'm successful. My rating goes up, I'm successful. Something like this. So if I achieve this title, I'm successful. No, that is just achieving milestones. But success is if you can give your best, if you can enjoy the process. I think that is real success. That is what will actually make us happy. So when I play a game, I should just, instead of trying to think about my rating, my opponent rating, what opening that can possibly come, what if he out prepares me, what if I get into a bad position, or what if I get a new position which I don't have any idea about, what if my past results, I mean, what is my tournament position. So instead of worrying about all these things, can we simply forget about these things and just tell myself, okay, today I'm going to play a game. I'm playing a good player. So I'm just going to enjoy, give my best. And whatever comes, I'm mature enough to handle it. Okay, so if I can have convince myself like this, then I won't think about the results. These things I won't think about it at all. It will just be pure fun, right? So when two strong players play, are they always worrying about the result when they play the game? No, they will think about result maybe once or twice, but most of the time they have understood. Unless I play good quality game, unless I keep playing good moves, move after move, I cannot get good results. So I better focus on that. So it is our choice, our decision to focus on what you want to focus, what I should focus on. So if I choose to focus about what can happen to the result, worrying about these things during the game, then I will feel under pressure. So when we focus on results and possible outcomes before or during the game, this is what is putting us under pressure. So if we can just throw all our expectations into a dustbin, okay, only expectation, I should go there, enjoy, play a good game, give my best effort. So if I can keep telling myself this, I should go there and give my best effort, I will, I'm already successful. I won't have this pressure. So when I come to this interview, I'm not worrying like what he will ask, what am I going to answer, what if he asks a question and I don't know the answer. So if I keep thinking, then whole night I cannot sleep, right?
Yeah.
So instead, if I tell, okay, whatever he asks, let me tell what I know, then there is no pressure.
Yeah. Okay, before going to chess part and so on, there are a couple of questions. Okay, so first of all, this question is from I am Saravanan again. So is asking, you advocate flexibility and openness for students on their approach to chess, but in your outlook about life and decision making, you seem to be very straightforward and not bothering about implications. Isn't this a dichotomy? Is the question.
Okay, first of all, I don't know what dichotomy is. I have
Even I
heard this
don't.
word, but I don't know the meaning. My English is not so good. So what's the question? You advocate flexibility and openness for students in their
Uh,
approach to
yeah.
chess. Okay. But in your outlook about life and decision making, you seem to be very straightforward, not bothering about implications. No, I think they both are same, right? So straightforward means what? Like I won't do things which I think is wrong. So if I think this is right, I will do it. If I think this is wrong, I will not do it. So similarly, when I play chess, uh, I see two interesting moves. This move also looks good. That move also looks good. I don't know which move I should choose. Now I just have to choose what I feel is correct, or I should just choose something and take a decision. So I think it is you just take a decision. So I don't know where it is contradictory. Not bothering about implications. That is what I tell my students also. You feel you play what you think is the best move, but not because you simply guess that move, but you try to actually analyze the position and find what you think is the best move. And once you think this is the correct move, don't play it with a lot of doubts. Just play confidently. And if it turns out to be incorrect, okay, I thought this decision is good, but it turned out to be correct. Okay, I'll face the consequence. So I
Okay,
don't see
so
the contradiction here.
dichotomy means difference in thought and behavior from the same person. It's
Yeah, I mean, what I
yeah,
don't understand is like, where is the contradiction here?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Flexibility and openness for students and being straightforward, how is it, how does it contradict each other? I don't understand.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so
Not
then,
bothering. No, that's what I'm telling. Like, I'm not telling my students, like, when you play a move, keep worrying about implications. No, you just go and give your best. Focus on your effort.
yeah, sure. Okay, so the next question is from Chaitanya. Like, is it while solving puzzles, is it okay to see answers when it is hard, or we need to try hard to solve? And how many
Okay,
minutes for? Yeah,
yeah, so two options. One, when you solve, it is better to choose positions which are closer to your current strength. So if I'm, it can be decided upon rating, um, or so it's better to choose positions which are closer to your strength, which should be solvable. So you can start with positions which you can solve easily without too much effort. But if you keep doing this, you won't improve much because you will simply start fooling yourself that everything is going to be easy. No. So once you learn to solve easy positions correctly, then gradually increase the difficulty. Now, how do we do this? How do we know whether the position is correct for our level? So there are puzzle books which they will say, okay, this is good for this rating to this rating, whatever. So many times I have seen, like, especially when I work with some foreign students, they will, if you give a slightly tougher position, they will try for 1 or 2 minutes and say, sir, can you please give a clue? Something like this.
yeah,
Uh, Too close to the mic. Okay, so let me, is it better now?
yeah. Okay, it's fine for me. I think there is no disturbance.
But complaining
Okay.
probably from my side.
It
Is it
might be.
okay?
Yeah, it should. It might be even from my side. I'm using new headphones, so not
Okay,
sure. Okay. Yeah.
fine. So, um, so what we were discussing about? Yeah, so it is better not to see the answers or even ask for clues. So even taking clues and solving, I would not recommend. So only thing, like, just spend more time. But when you are just spending more time, it doesn't mean you are actually concentrating. So concentrate well, put your best effort, and however long it takes, you should be ready to invest that time to get the answer. Because you are not only learning to solve positions, but you are also learning to be determined. Like, once I decide I'm going to do this, I'll somehow get it done. So this determination is also a quality you can learn through solving puzzles. So if you say, like, you try for some time and then you think you're not getting the answer, just because you are not getting the answer does not make the position hard. Maybe the position solution is very easy. I did not put my best effort. Most of the cases, this will be the thing.
Yeah, and coming to chess part, I want to start with calculation and stuff. So
Mhm.
I read your article in Chess Gurukul website that solving studies is one of the ways to improve your calculation.
Mhm.
Personally, like myself, like I have never managed to solve studies, I mean, like on a consistent basis. So, like, do you think it's important to solve studies? And if so, and also I read that you determine studies into 5 levels, like easy to difficult, and you give like that. So generally, like, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think I came to know about studies probably after I became an IM or GM or in between this period. So even when I was coming up, I did not know the existence of studies or compositions. So, but I was very good in calculation when I was young compared to most of my compatriots. That was simply because I was solving a lot of puzzles and somehow I was doing it well. Um, so without solving studies also, it is possible to be good at something. So it is just like, without going to school, people can be good in business,
Yeah.
something like this. So the schools and all is a very uh, modern concepts. So learning can happen from different sources in different ways. Yeah, so study solving is good if we do it properly. But here you need some external help. In most puzzle books, they will give 1 star, 2 star, 3 star to show the difficulty. So if I'm not able to do 3 star, I can do 2 star, something like that. But in studies, there are very, I don't know of any book which gives like that. So since I work with different levels of students, so it is important for me to know those positions well, and I should give the positions according to the strength of the student. If I give him too difficult problem, he will lose motivation, he will lose confidence. And if I give it too easy position to a stronger player, he won't learn as well from that experience. So for my personal thing, I've categorized it to different difficulty levels. But I think solving studies is very different from solving puzzles. Puzzles, you don't need much time. Maybe if it, even if some very hard puzzle, 5, 10, 15 minutes you can solve. But sometimes some difficult studies, it can take 1 or 2 hours also. So to solve studies, you have to learn to think for a long time with good concentration. So to learn those qualities, solving studies is very useful.
Yeah, so first of all, like for people who doesn't have a coach and stuff, like where to find this kind of studies according to their level, like which books would you recommend? And second of all, is it like solving studies, is it necessary to put them on the board and solve, or is it okay to solve them blindfold or something like that?
Okay, so this is another issue I have problems with. So many are always looking for, like earlier when the computer started coming into chess. So many parents and players will ask, should I see chess in computer or should I see chess with a chessboard? Or when I want to revise openings, should I see the opening with a chessboard or should I see, is it okay to revise with a computer and so on? So again, these questions are important, but the solution cannot come from outside. So for example, when I was a chess player, when the computer started coming, I had these doubts, but then I thought, okay, it is easy for me to see the openings from the computer itself. I can jump from one variation to another very quickly. If I set it up on a board, it will take more time. And it worked for me. When I was a player, I was considered to be good theoretician. So I was supposed to be good in openings, not the like at the top level, but compared to other Indian players, I was pretty good in the remembering the opening, understanding the opening, and all this stuff. So again, the question is, everybody has to decide these things. You try one thing, and it does not have to be the best solution, or the first solution you try doesn't have to be the correct solution, or the solution which you think is correct. Not everyone has to agree to it or put their rubber stamp saying what you're doing is correct. No, we are not doing this for others. You are having a problem, you want to find a solution. So whatever you feel is correct, try it. If it is not working, make some adjustments, try it again. So this how you actually find solutions to all the important questions. So not by asking others, and this is my problem. It's not like I have headache, okay, go to doctor and he gives a medicine and my head goes away. So most problems are not like that. It is simply because we have not find what is working for us. So we have to experiment, try different things, and we will definitely find. But you can also accelerate the process by asking your coaches or experienced people.
Yeah, and also like recently when Kramnik arranged a camp in attended a camp in Chennai, like one of the things he recommended to the chess players were not to play blitz games or bullet games online, so that because it weakens their calculation or something like that. So what is your opinion on that, like playing
No,
blitz or
when I was young, I used to play a lot of Blitz. Back then, there was no internet, no TV. So whenever so I remember when we go from Chennai to tournaments in the train, we used to travel, and all the berths, seats, and all you'll see players with chessboard, clock, and top, 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 top. We do that. So many times I've traveled to Calcutta from Chennai on train, maybe 20 hours we have played blitz along the way. So I have played like maybe 1,000 games with international master Murugan inside train. So like I said again, everyone is entitled to their opinions. I respect Ramik for his opinion, but I have a different opinion. I think playing blitz is very healthy, and we should never lose the fact that we play chess for love, for fun. Playing chess should make us happy, and a lot of people take pleasure playing blitz, and it has its own benefits. And if you see almost all the top players in the world, all, maybe 9 out of 10 or 8 out of 10, they are very good in blitz also, not just in standard time control. And it is not an accident, it is also by design. So everyone enjoys playing blitz, so I don't see any harm. The problem will come only if playing blitz becomes your only source of learning, preparation. Then only it becomes a problem. If you are doing what you're supposed to do to get better, if you are learning chess and playing blitz for fun, I think it is perfectly fine.
Yeah, and as you were saying, like a lot of people have different opinions and stuff. I was recently watching a stream of Hikaru Nakamura, and he was talking about his journey, and he was saying that he mostly improved by playing only Blitz again and again. So, like, and also there are many other unconventional approaches. Some players, they just watch videos and they learn. So and like some people they have contradictory opinions and stuff. So like do you think there is like only one approach to improve in chess, or is it okay to try out
No, I
this?
don't think so.
Yeah.
There are multiple approaches to improve. That is what I'm trying to stress. So most of us are asking, can you tell me E4 E5 is better or E4 C5 is better? Okay, so there is no E4 E5 better or E4 C5 better. If you like E4 E5, you play E5. If you like E4 C5, you play C5. But only thing, don't just play it because you like it. Also do some preparation and play. That's it. And just because you like something, prepare and play, it is not a guarantee that 100% of the time you will get good results. No, the results will keep varying according to how you play the game, what kind of preparation you have, what kind of understanding you have, what is your chess strength, all these lot of other factors also. So instead of trying to do everything in the best possible way, we should start doing things, and it will, along the way we will learn and we will improve, and we should have that flexibility. That is all. It should not like, I chose this path, so this is the correct path for me for the rest of my life. No, you try something, it doesn't work, you try something else. So just like our shoe size keeps changing, our shirt size keeps changing, our opinions on many things should also change, evolve with how we interact and learn from others on our own experience. It should keep evolving to better.
Yeah, and like related to that, like let's say I like playing Blitz or something, and I don't like to do, like let's say I don't like to solve puzzles. Do you think it's important to do the things which we don't like also, or do you think just doing what we like is enough to improve?
No, no. Many times, like the actual learning, no, I think this is the key, like what you asked. Uh, Many times, what people do, they think they should do only things which they like, and whatever they don't like, they should simply ignore them or throw it in trash. No, this I think approach. This is one of the losers' attitude, I would say. Um, it is very important we keep acquiring knowledge. See, by birth, uh, everyone will have our own personalities, and that should evolve. And it should evolve in a way not where we become rigid in our approach. Instead, how well we assimilate from the other viewpoints, other angles. I think that is when the actual growth happens. But most of us, we are looking for ways to reinforce my way of looking at things. And whenever I get such information, I think, yes, see, I told you, I am right. No, that is like we lose our learning capacity in that process. So I like these things. I don't like these things. For example, in my own experience, when I was young, I was a theoretician kind of thing. So most of the time, I was trying to get advantage from the opening, and I was attacking player. So I tried to attack in every game. And I was trying to calculate sacrifice. This was my style. So once I am Murugan, he said, Ramesh, you are doing this well, but your understanding in chess is not good. Your positional understanding and your endgame skills are not good. So you have to improve in those areas as well. So initially, I felt very hurt because someone I look up to, I appreciate, is saying I'm not good in some things. But then I also, it made me think maybe what he says is true. Then I ask myself, what do I think about myself? Okay, someone else has given his opinion, but what I think about myself, I agreed. Okay, yes, I'm not probably good at this, but it was my conscious decision. I thought I should simply stick to my strength. I mean, why should I play where I am weak? If I'm a batsman, I should be a batsman. Why should I try to bowl? Something like this, I thought. But then I realized, like in a team game, you can do that. You can do batting, someone else will do the bowling job. But in chess, no. You have to do the batting, bowling, wicket keeping, umpiring, everything yourself. So you have to learn everything. So then I started working on positional play, end games. And initially it was tough, but gradually I started learning and improved in those areas also. So learning and working and improving on areas which you don't like, which you are not feeling comfortable, where you feel you're not that good. I think this is also extremely important. Just ignoring and avoiding things you don't like in life will only make you like a horse cover like all sides. Limited view.
Yeah. And one of the things like I was watching this perpetual podcast with Ben Johnson, and one of the things you mentioned was like for your students every day you give like 10 stuff to do, and like out of which like they should be doing like three or four. That is what you said in that interview. And I asked the same question to Grandmaster Karthikeyan Mulli. He put up a poker face and he didn't reveal the secret. So I'm asking you this directly. So generally, do you do that? And if you do that, why do you do that exactly?
This I don't do with like Karthik and Mali grandmaster level students because, um, like I said, most of the questions, if you see which common players ask, it's like, how should I prepare? What should I prepare? I don't have a plan. Should I prepare this? Should I prepare that? Should I prepare from book? Should I prepare from computer, DVD? So they are like all the time asking questions, questions, questions. So what they are not realizing is instead of asking these questions, spending so much time on these questions, why don't you do what you feel is right and learn from that experience and improvise, make some improvement, necessary improvements. So we are always waiting for that perfect solution to all my questions. Once I get the correct answer for all my questions, then I will start doing my job. No, you have to do your job first, and questions will come along the way. Whether you get answers or not, keep thinking about the questions, but continue doing what you're supposed to do. So that is the thing. So many young children, they don't have a plan. because there are so many books, databases, courses available. So they are not sure. Like the problem in our times were lack of information. Now the problem is like exactly opposite. They have too much information coming from multiple sources. So they are just going from one source to the another. Instead of doing that, stick to one or two sources, but you got the information which you need. Now start practicing. So instead of asking E4, E5 is better or E4, C5 is better, what you like is more important. So if you like Sicilian kind of positions, and I don't know what I like, so then see some Sicilian games, see some E4, E5 games, and then see which relates to you more, and then start working on that. This kind of approach, this is what I'm trying to advocate. I have some areas like basically what I'm those 10 points. It simply will tell you have to solve puzzles, you have to study classics, you have to study middle game books, you have to study end game books. That's all. Basically, like it should cover all the areas of chess. So if I'm a positional player, I should still learn to attack. If I'm an attacking player, I should still learn to play positional chess. So I try to cover recommendations on all the important topics. That's it. So, but these things I don't tell to good players, like strong players. It's mostly for upcoming players.
Yeah, and yeah, since also you were mentioning that you were good at opening theory and so on.
Mm.
So and also like in his testimonial, Grandmaster Sethuraman mentioned that like you helped him, to get better at openings and so on. So generally, what would be your general approach to opening? Like, how should one study an opening?
Yeah, first thing is like there are many stages to actually preparing a material and preparing the opening. So one is you need good material. Now this material can be accessed in two forms. One, you prepare the material yourself for the openings which you want to play, or you give outsource this job to others. Maybe you get a good book or database, or your coach sends you material. And again, here the modern approach seems to be like I should not work on my openings. I should not work myself to improve my openings. My coach or some other person should do all the job for me. You should give the database. I will just see the database and I'll become an expert in that opening. So this is the most popular path these days. But I would say in you don't need fantastic material to play a good opening. And even if Kasparov gives all his preparation to rest of the mere mortals like us, we cannot play openings the same openings like Kasparov, because I mean to prepare that material he has put a lot of effort, and we like from zero effort we want to play like Kasparov. It's not going to happen. So there is no need for us to have the best opening material. You just have to see some good players games till you are like 2300 or 2400. It is enough if you see some strong players playing whatever opening you are trying to prepare. Just study their games and try to understand. And this is the key. Try to understand why they are playing these moves. Give a very clear reason why they are playing these moves. And then immediately the next question. So that is why I buy books or database, because there they will explain each move. Okay. Then my point is, who explained it to them? Like who explained to Karpov or Kasparov or whoever is playing that nicely? They learned it themselves, isn't it? They also studied other strong players games before them, and then they learned, and then that they are sharing with you. Now, why you want to miss out on that part? I'm very confused. Why you don't want to go through the same process where you can learn by looking at other strong players games, or we are simply admitting I don't have that capability. Now, if we don't have that capability, how can we even become a good player? Isn't it? So if I cannot learn things myself, if others have to do everything for me, then why I should be doing this at all? I mean, just let what others are doing it well, let them do, right? So it's very important we take responsibility for our improvement. Your improvement is not in others' hands or others' opinions, or you should not be waiting for perfect answer to all your problems. No, whatever you have, make best use of it. That should be the attitude, and along the way things will start coming in our direction.
Yeah.
So when you're seeing opening, try to understand the moves. So you don't have to see 1,000 pages of analysis, not required. And you don't have to check every move with engine. I would say below 2300 or 2400, you should not even check your opening moves with engines. Just sit and see why he's playing that move. It should make sense to you. This is the way you have to study openings.
Yeah, and like some people have broad opening repertoire, like they play multiple openings, and some people they play a single opening repeatedly again and again. And there's also a similar question from Anis is asking like about playing some systems repeatedly, like London Kolle or Black Lion from Black. So generally, do you think like playing a single opening will is effective, or do you think a person should broaden their opening repertoire?
No, this is something like, is eating vegetarian food is good or eating non-vegetarian food is good. So everything generally have pros and cons, good and bad sides to it. Okay, so on most issues, like that's what I again keep saying. Um, you don't need an answer for this question. This question is not important at all. That is what I'm trying to say, right? Instead of like confusing ourselves with too many questions for which we don't have answers, my thing is like why we have to think about these things. So you are happy playing London, Cole, and Blacklight. It's fine. So how does my opinion matter at all? Okay, so the only question is, are you learning the London, Cole, Black Lion to the best of your ability or not? Are you simply memorizing moves, going and playing, or are you putting sufficient effort to understand the concepts of white and black, what white is trying to achieve, how black is trying to counter it? In some games, they will play d4, d5, bishop f4, c5. Some players will play d4, d5, bishop f4, knight f6. Some people will play g6, some people will play e6, some people will play c6. So many options black has when you are playing this opening from white. Be curious. What are the different possibilities black has? Why he is, what he is trying to do here, what he is trying to do here. So see chess like this. Be curious, ask questions to yourself rather than to others, and come up with your own solutions. That will matter more to you. That is more relevant to you than the solutions which you get from outside. So you have to start believing your opinions, your conclusions also have some value. If you don't value your opinions, then you have to constantly get opinions from others. Not necessary. Whenever you have confusion, you're not able to decide, or you just want to hear different opinions, it's fine. But that is not the solution for all our problems.
Yeah, and coming to books and so on, there are a lot of books and a lot of information also like on middle game and end game. So generally, like can you like there is also a question in the chat like which is your favorite chess book, and also generally what chess books do you recommend for players to improve their middle game or even end game?
Okay, see, any decent book is good. Okay, so my philosophy here is you can learn a lot of good things even from a badly written book. Right. So you don't need all Doretsky or Kasparov or Magnus Carlsen or Nakamura book to improve. You can actually learn from any book, or from, you can see, learn from any game you see. So it is basically how you read the book that is the
Mhm.
key rather than the book itself. What book you read is not important. How you read. So when I was young, there were not many books available. So my father was working in customs, so he got me some books from Batsford publications. Some books he got, some 10 books or something. So I felt like it was some gold treasure, something like that. So I immediately took a different color pencils, and then like whatever I liked, I will underline in different colors, and I will bend the pages, because after a few months I want to come to the same book. I'll directly go to those pages and read the underlined parts. And when I read books, even now, when I read books, not much. I'm not reading books, even storybooks I read or something. I will try to understand, like some sentence will make a lot of impact. So then I will stop reading, and then I'll think. I'll close the book, I'll walk, and then I will think, wow, what he has written, fantastic. So and then I will try to go deep into that one sentence, trying to understand different meanings from that one sentence. So that how you read, how involved you are in that experience, that is the key, I think. So it doesn't matter which book you read, from any decent book, you can learn a lot of good things. So don't expect for that perfect book. It doesn't exist.
Yeah, and okay, now we can move on to your career and stuff. And so I wanted to start with first of all British Championship, which you're famous for. You won in 2002, and also like after 2003, I think they stopped inviting Indians or other country players because Indians were winning most of the British Championships. So first of all, during 2002 British Championship, how was the preparation for the tournament? And like, were you expecting to win the tournament in the first place?
No, first of all, like even when I'm working with my students, we don't prepare tournament specific. So we just prepare regularly. And every time we prepare, we try to do it as well as we can. So generally, we don't prepare for this tournament or that tournament. The preparation is something like it's like brushing teeth. You don't brush teeth when you're getting married or something. You brush teeth throughout your life. So this is how the preparation should be. It doesn't have to be tournament specific, unless you are playing some world championship match against girlfriend or Kramnik. That is different story. So for most tournaments, you just keep working, and special preparation and all you should do when we have reached a bit higher level in our career. Then it can be structured to few areas as per the needs. But till then, whichever area you learn and improve, it will help you. So because there are many areas where we have to learn and improve. So any area you learn and improve, it will be having a positive impact. So I did not do any specific preparation for this tournament. No, and I was not expecting to win the tournament. Though I was in the Indian team went, and there were many good players like Hari Krishna, Ganguly, Sashi Kiran. They were all playing. And we had Makshen, Jonathan Ross, and Spielman from UK playing. So I think I was 13th or 17th seed. I don't remember well. So I was not expecting to win the tournament. I was just playing for a GM norm. In the tournament, I had made my first GM norm in 2001 BL Open. So I was looking for my second GM norm. So any norm tournament, I used to play for norms. That was not only for the norm, but that will also be one consideration. So it went reasonably well, and then I lost to Hari Krishna with black, and then I had to win 2 out of 2. It was 2 out of 3 requirement for my second norm. I lost to Hari, and then I had to beat Barua with black, and then I played Karakan, and that's the only time I have played Karakan in my life, I think, because I played many games, many Sicilians. I used to play Sicilian only. So I played many Sicilians against Barua. Everywhere you will go Bishop E2, Bishop E2, Bishop E2. You will get boring positions. So I thought, okay, I'm in a desperate situation. Let me try something new. So I saw against Karakan, he was playing Pano Botvinnik, and he will get an isolated pawn. So I thought, okay, this will be a good choice to play for a result. So either it will backfire or it will work. Luckily, it worked, and then I had to beat Abhijit Kunte, and then I got my norm. And then it was a 11 round tournament, I think. And then seventh, eighth, and ninth round I won, and then 10th and 11th round also I won. I bet I think Rosen and McShane in the 11th round. I won the tournament. So I won 4 games against GMs when I was not a GM. So that gave a lot of satisfaction. No, generally, if you get good results, you will feel good. But like I had this philosophy even when I was young, like the results should not affect our mood that much. We should kind of remain in balance for as long as possible. So I was always telling myself not to be very reactionary to the results. What is happening on the board should not uh, that should not happen. It should not affect me too much. So I was trying to focus on that a lot as a player. And generally, like okay, so the British tournament when I championship when we won, uh, Karthik, there's things you were.
Yeah, yeah. Last question, I forgot to unmute actually.
So for the British championship, or what was the
No,
question?
no, just last question. The question I just asked.
Okay, fine.
So,
So the question was,
about
how
your
do I
feeling,
celebrate
like
my
how do you
victory?
celebrate and stuff? Yeah.
how do I handle my emotions after
Yeah.
a result, something like that. Okay, so uh, after the British Championship, like last 2 3 rounds were very stressful, not just for me, for all the Indian players, because in 2002 British Championship, all the British players, they made it very clear that we were not welcome to their tournaments. So they felt like it's like into my house, some strangers have come and they are occupying my house. So how we will behave with that strangers? That's how the players, organizers, arbiters, they were behaving with Indian players, and very hostile environment. I felt very intimidated and hostile environment. And when I went to the top board against McShane, like people, I mean, the British players, they stopped talking to us. Like when I made the GM, no one came and congratulated me, something like this. And then they were all expecting McShane to beat me in the last round because he was having white and he was having he's a GM. I am not, but I won with the black pieces on the tournament. And like when I got a good position, people started walking away from the audience. Like no one was there to clap or anything. And then the players also did not come and congratulate. Like after I won the tournament, unless I go and stand in front of them, they will congratulate. Otherwise, so it was very hostile environment, and I'm glad I won.
Yeah, and okay, you became international master in 1996, but then you became grandmaster only in 2003, and you were in 2400 for a long time. So like, and also like, lot of people get stagnant at a point. So generally, like, what did you do exactly to score norms and stuff, and like, what would you generally recommend to players also, like when they're stagnant at a point?
No, in my case, the problem is like I was never very ambitious as a player. So at one point, I wanted to become GM, I mean, desperately. So the British Championship, all this, it is mentioned I was playing for norms. And so at one point, I started becoming desperate to become a GM because I know like time is kind of running out, and I should not be in the waiting list all the time. So that pressure was there. But the thing is, like, I was not very ambitious when I was coming up. Like I said, I started at the age of 12, and then I already lost like a few years compared to the modern generation. And there were no coaches, not enough material, not many good players were there, like very strong players where you can play and improve. So most of the time we'll be the top 5 seeds, top 10 seeds in the tournaments we play. So ideally it'll be good if I am like 25th seed or something, so where I can play with a lot of other strong players. So that we were learning by trial and error, and in an environment when the competition was not very strong. So it was, and I was also not ambitious. I was more enjoying my life. I was trying to be happy with my life. So I will crack a lot of jokes. So I try to be happy, and I would not take these titles too seriously. Only when other players from my younger generation, like Kunte, Sashi Kiran. Okay, Kunte is almost my age, but like when Sashi Kiran, Sandeep Panchanda, Ganguly, these guys started becoming GM, then I felt I also have to become a GM, and that put a lot of pressure. I'm not used to doing things for their outcome, so it put a lot of pressure, and I was very stressed. I went to some psychiatrist and all to handle. I sometimes got very depressed when things did not go well. Like few tournaments, like I think Nagpur National A, I think it was 99 or something. So when me and Sashi were like 8 out of 10 or 7.5 out of 10 in the nationals, and then suddenly I lost 2 games and I came 7th and went out of the team. And then I played in a Commonwealth Championship where I was 5 out of 5, and I needed 1.5 out of 4 for my norm. And then I lost all the 4 games. So from 5/5, it became 5/9. So there were many tournaments which went like from up, it'll go completely down. So it depressed me a lot. And I went to some psychiatrist and all to get some help. And it did not work out well. So then I realized like that is one of the reason I try to say like the solution should come not from others to our problems. So I try to find solution from others, and then I try to go for transcendental meditation, I tried and it did not help. So I tried different types of meditation and so on. So finally, I did some Vipassana course and it changed my outlook. So I've done 2, 3 courses. That uh, taught me, that experience taught me a lot of, most of the things that my philosophy, it comes from those experiences. So I've realized like the problems and solutions lie within ourselves, not external.
Yeah.
So
And
there will be difficult moments, and so I'm just happy that I did not lose sense of proportion, and these experiences helped me become what I am now.
yeah. And coming to, and also like Commonwealth 2007 is one of the tournaments you have won, and so like also like how happy were you about that, and also like generally like out of the tournaments, like which of the tournaments are most special to you in terms of memories and also happiness?
Yeah, first thing is like I won under 18 when I was young. I think when I was 14 or 15, I won the under 17 nationals. Under 17 or under 18, I don't remember. Uh, and then that tournament, I was like leading 8 out of 8. And so that time I used to tell my friends that I will beat this opponent in less than 3 minutes on the clock or 5 minutes on the clock. So I will take only 3 or 5 minutes in the clock. My opponent is like very good player, but I used to have bet with my friends like I will not take more than 5 minutes on the clock. So I'll just go play tup 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 like a blitz in a 2 or 40 more time control. So I was very reckless when I was young. But the thing is like I like that. When I look back, I feel very happy because somehow I intuitively understood I should enjoy chess, not just result is everything. But I'm not saying that is the correct approach, but I had fun with chess. So that is very special to me. So that national title under 18 was good. The next year also I won the under 18. Again I was 8 out of 8. So the first time I lost my first round, last round, ninth round. I lost to Sriram Ja, and then I won the title. The next time I drew with Sachi, and then I won the title. So those two are very important because that was the first major breakthrough in my career as a player. And then I won. I was dominating in my age group at that time in Tamil Nadu especially. So under 18, under 17, under 19, all these titles I won three times in a row. I won Tamil Nadu State Championship, something like this. And then the next special thing I would say, all the three GM norms were special because like I was already very desperate and I made them. So British Championship, the Commonwealth. Okay, Commonwealth in 2007. Around 2005, I told myself like I'm not going to be a player for longer time. I'd already become a coach. I was already working with many players, and I was enjoying it better than playing. So I know like my days as a player are being numbered. And the Commonwealth in 2007, one of my last tournaments I played. So my wife, my in-laws, my parents, everyone had come to Delhi because immediately after the tournament, we were planning a vacation in Kul Manali. So everyone had come there, and so I was no preparation. My daughter was also there. She was 1, 2 years old. So I was just playing with my daughter, going for sightseeing and coming and playing. And then I won the tournament, and my daughter took my trophy on the stage. So that's a very memorable. I still can remember that moment. So it just happened. I did not uh, want
Yeah.
these things to happen. It just happened. So I'm happy for it.
Yeah, and are you more proud of you as a chess player or a chess coach? Like generally.
Okay. It is like when you cook the food, you feel happy, or when you eat the food, something like that. So when I was a player, it is like I'm cooking the food. I learned a lot of things, and I made a lot of mistakes. And some mistakes I could overcome, some mistakes I could not overcome. So I can understand what a player is going through, like when they are struggling to handle issues. I can very well relate to it because if I had not been a player, then these things would look very black and white to me. I would say, okay, this is the solution. Why don't you simply do it and get it over with? But it's a human mind we are talking about. it won't change so readily. So as a player, whatever I have learned, it helped me to become a better coach. But now, like I'm also reaching a stage where maybe something else should make me happy.
Yeah.
Let's.
Yeah, and coming to finally coming to your coaching career, I heard that you started coaching right from 1998. So, but I didn't know like who was your first student, and like when did you realize you had talent for chess coaching also?
Okay, so first time I became a coach was when Mr. Umakoya was the secretary of Indian Chess Federation back then. He asked me to go with the Asian junior team, so under 20 team, and I was 21 or 22 years old myself. So 2 years ago I could have been a player. So I was like
Yeah.
21 or 22 years old, and he sent me as coach for the under 20 team. And Vijay Lakshmi won in the girls, and Tejas Bakre won in boys. We got gold in both, but it was I did not do anything. I was just playing, talking with my friends. But after I came back, um my wife Aarti, her parents approached me and said, "Can I work with her as a coach?" So she was my first student. So we started working in '98, and then in 1999 she won World Under 18. She was not the top seed. She was like some 15 seed or something like that, and she won the tournament quite convincingly. So because we did very good work, and then it immediately helped. So in 1 year she uh, won the national world title, and that was the second world title after Anand's World Junior. That came, I think, in '98 or something. So this '88, and now in '98, '99, she is winning the world title. So that gave me a lot of confidence, and she also won many national age category tournaments. So that was the time when age category tournaments were becoming popular. So she won. So 98, I started becoming a coach. First with the Indian team, junior team, and then Aarti was my first student. And then when she started, we won. She told in interview that uh, Ramesh is my coach. And then a lot of people started approaching me, and I work with like in one Commonwealth, I think 90, no, around 2002 or something. One Commonwealth, me and Aarti, we were like counting how many of my students were playing the top 40 board, and 40 students were playing in the top 40 boards. So like half the players were I was working with, and this was in like 2002 or something. So before I quit my career as a player, I was already a very active coach. So I enjoy coaching a lot.
Yeah. Okay, the numbers say it already, but do you consider yourself as the best coach in India? Chess coach.
Sometimes I'll feel like that, and sometimes like when people praise us a lot, you are the best coach in the world, you are the best coach in India. So it uh, used to affect me. I used to feel like glow in that shine, you can say. I'll feel like I have a, or maybe like this. Earlier, I used to think like that, but okay, I understood later that whenever like it's like somebody is having a birthday, everyone will say happy birthday. In Facebook, you'll get 2,000 messages of happy birthday, but no one is actually thinking about you. Everyone is busy with their own life. So I understood like whenever we are interacting with some people, they will interact with us, and then life will move on. We are just like one channel. The people will keep changing channels. So these things are not really very important. I try not to focus on these things.
Yeah, and about your students, like, okay, there's so many, like, but how do you realize that a particular student is talented and like he's the right person to train, and how do you choose your students basically?
No, basically, I don't choose my students. Probably like that is something people maybe they think like I have a filtering process, and whoever successfully gets filtered, I work. But generally, few things I look out for. Like it's very actually, in my view, it's very easy to find talent. It is like when they analyze. I mean, they will confidently analyze. That's all. They will not like hesitate too much to tell moves. So they will whatever they feel, they will have the courage to tell. I think that itself is a positive sign. But the other extreme is like any position, immediately people will tell moves without thinking. I'm not talking about that kind of giving moves, but what they say will also make a lot of sense. And they'll be interested to know your views when you talk about things about chess. They'll be curious, they will listen well. So these are the things like, I mean, if I'm going to teach, the student should be interested to learn from me, isn't it? So if he's getting bored listening to me, then what's the point? So like earlier, I was working with a lot, and like 8 out of 10 of my students will immediately show improvements after the first session itself. But last few years, like I'm also growing old, and I want to spend more time with family, so I'm not working with too many students anymore. I'm just having a small circle, happy working with them.
Yeah, and finally, the final question, like, what are your current, I mean, what are your current goals, and like, what are you planning to do further moving forward during this lockdown, like after the lockdown and stuff?
No, I'm also very confused about this. Like, okay, initially when I was a player, I want to become a good player, and then when I become a coach, I want to become a good coach. Now I feel like I should not be running behind such targets in my life, and then I should kind of um, withdraw myself from all these expectations. So I'm also very confused, trying to find what should be my direction. But okay, recently I'm working, like I said, I'm working with few students, and I want to help them the best possible way. And then we have started approaches training, a project with a few players, and we hope it will be beneficial for many players. So yeah, I just want to be happy and peaceful. So kind of withdraw from public
Yeah,
attention. I don't want to get into that anymore.
yeah.
Just be
So,
happy with myself and my family, my few students.
yeah. Okay, so thank you, sir, first of all, for accepting to come on this show and sharing your knowledge. I personally have learned a lot, and also the audience must have learned a lot. I couldn't ask all the questions the audience asked because there were time constraints. So hopefully in the future also maybe we get to speak again, and hopefully we can do some other stream in the future. And yeah, again, thank you for coming. And
Thank you very much.
yeah, wish.
So,
Yeah.
like regarding Karthik, like I've not seen you as a player because I retired. And like
Yeah.
from the history, your guys are the present and the future. So good luck for your career, both as a player. Also, you have been very diligently streaming and adding videos. So best wishes for that. Just enjoy whatever you are doing. Be happy.
Yeah,
You don't need
thank
to judge yourself by the
thank you,
outcome.
sir, and wish you the same. Good luck for all the endeavors and stuff.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.